That's right, folks. It's another year over and another year in review. This is an exciting night. The second annual Talkies, the 2002 year in review. All the stars are out tonight. Just coming on stage and just celebrating horror movies. Oops.
Right.
Just celebrating horror movies and just celebrating the horror movies and the podcast. David, you're up for best ad tonight. How are you feeling about your chances?
I got to tell you, Bryce, there's the competition is fierce. There's a lot of talent out here. There's Bryce Hansen. I mean, he's my biggest. Whoa, holy shit! Who's that? Oh my God, is that Paul Rudd?
There's a lot of people on the red carpet tonight. Don't get distracted.
There's you. There's me. There's a lot of talent here. So
there we see Sharon Stone.
Oh.
She's out here tonight.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is magical.
Well, good luck to you. We'll see you inside.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Well, we got here. Here comes me. How am I feeling tonight? What award am I most excited for? I'm definitely excited for the most sexual moment. I think I got a real run at it. Again, tough competition, but I think I got what it takes this year to really push through. And looks like the red light's on. The light's starting to flash. It looks like it's time to get started. Get ready for Horror Movie Talk's 2022 Year in Hindsight Award Show, The Talkies. Okay, so thank you all for coming to the second annual Talkies. I'm your co-host, Bryce Hansen. Along with me is my hilarious and famous co-host, David Day.
Hi, it's so nice to be here. Man, I got to tell you. The year has flown by. I can't believe it's been a little more than a year since the last Talkies. And, dude, it's just looking back. What a hilarious and fun year we had in 2022, Bryce. I got to say, just going back over some of these clips is hilarious.
Yeah.
Bleeping hilarious.
So I think last year we did this around January, just right after the beginning of the year. And it's because I spent most of my Christmas break listening to the past year, because who would pay attention and make a note of notable moments throughout the year? Like, might as well just shove it all into a panic spree at the end of the year. But this year we're a little late, but I want to thank before we even get into it, Max Allen for helping out, and he put in a ton of legwork, basically doing all the pre-research that I did last year to help out, to highlight clips and find time codes and catalog the scores and stuff. So we couldn't have done this without Max Allen. Thank you so much. If you're new to Horror Movie Talk, we review horror movies, and this is our award show. Let's not overthink it.
Yeah, and make sure to join us on YouTube, because you're really going to get the most out of this show over there.
Right. So, first award tonight.
Ooh, I'm so excited, Bryce. Is this the backdrop we're staying with for now?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Best ad. For the best ad, we start out a lot of our episodes with our sponsors, and these are the nominees for best ad.
Before we get into it, I just want to say we got a lot of categories, and we will end up with our best and worst movies of last year. I don't know if you said that, but I want to make sure everybody knows. Stick around.
Right.
Because you get the best and worst movies of the year for last year at the end of this episode, so it's going to be good.
But, the first half of the award show is, it's for the industry. It's, it's like, just like the Oscars have, best short film cinematography in the beginning and no one actually cares and keeps the best film until the last of the night. We're going to do, kind of inside baseball for the first half of the show and then talk movies.
The Academy really loves to suck its own dick,
And then, for the second half, we're going to have horror movie talk. Okay, so for our first award for the night, we're going to go over the nominees for Best New Ads.
Are you a great big fat person? Is your skin tight on your body? It doesn't have to be this way. Here at Buffalo Bills Fitness, we aim to help you achieve your goals of weight loss. Unlike other gyms, we really keep you locked in to your goals and won't let you out of your commitment to yourself. So if you're ready for a true body metamorphosis, sign up today at Buffalo Bills Fitness. If you use code HMT at sign up, you'll receive a free skincare basket.
This is a smoothie from Buffalo Bills Weight Loss Center. I am a customer. Next up is Kurt Russell's mustache rise from the Bone Tomahawk episode.
Episode is brought to you by Kurt Russell's Mustache Rides. If you're feeling tense and jostled from a long buggy ride, or your feet are sore from walking the plains, come sit down and relax on Kurt Russell's many and varied mustaches. We guarantee that you'll be satisfied. 1 ride for 3 cents, 2 rides for 6 cents, and 3 rides for 10 cents, because after the second ride, I get tired. Offer only valid in the Oregon Territory, and no dudes.
No dudes.
And then we have Loch Lomond Death from Dog Soldiers.
Bayan Bani bangs and Bayan Bani plays, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love will ever once again, on the bonny banks of Loch Lomond. You take the high road and I'll take the low, and I'll be in Scotland Oh, I just got a Charlie horse.
Oh, man. That was a classic. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Then we have Normal Activity from Paranormal Activity episode.
This episode brought to you by Good Flicks, the Christian family-based movie studio that brings positive entertainment that changes lives, inspires hearts, and lifts the spirit. This holiday, see Normal Activity, a found footage story of a God-fearing married couple named Christian and Chastity that are protected by God. Nothing bad happens, and everyone's just nice. That's Normal Activity, coming soon to a theater near you.
I want to see that movie right now.
And then we have Billy Zane from The Mummy.
This episode is brought to you by Billy Zane. It says all it needs to say.
It says all it needs, it comes in, goes out.
If you don't get it, Billy
It's
Zane
like
is
head on.
not in The Mummy. He's
Head
not
on.
in there.
Apply directly to the head.
Right.
Head on. Apply directly to the head.
Yeah, in case you need to know, Billy Zane's not in The Mummy. He just looks like he's in The Mummy.
Next up we have Centipede Twister from the Human Centipede 2 episode.
Get ready to have a blast with the newest adult party game from Hasbro, Centipede Twister. Everyone remembers the awkward poses and sexual tension from the classic Twister. Well, now we cut that tension like a hot knife through your Achilles tendon. Centipede Twister is just like regular Twister, but instead of having one spinner to indicate which appendage goes where, well, there's a second spinner to indicate mouth or butt to, well, mouth or butt. See where your game takes you and make sure you watch what you eat beforehand. Centipede Twister. It'll grow on you. There's a real good catch line at the end there.
And then last nominee is Estrogen Network from the Men episode. Oops.
This week's episode is brought to you by the Estrogen Network.
And now the Estrogen Network presents Afternoon Yak.
Man.
Canceled.
What a strong selection of ads we have to choose from. It's sad to me that there's only 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's sad to me that there's only 8.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's check who wins. Who wins?
Yeah. Which one wins?
Let me get the.
Oh, we got to get the envelope.
Okay. And the winner is Kurt Russell's Mustache Rides from Bone Tomahawk.
Oh yeah. What was that?
There we go.
We just listen, folks. I promise. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm stealing your moment.
Next up is Best Guest.
Oh yes, I think David is presenting Best Guest. If I'm not mistaken.
David will present Best Guest.
We had a lot of great guests in 2022, and you know what? 2023 is shaping up to be an even better year, but we can't move forward without looking back. You know, you have to look back. You have to know what's behind you to see what's in front of you, and so this bit, we take a moment to honor those who came on our show and just really brought it, and who were the wind beneath our wings. So. Without further ado, let's take a look at the nominees for the best guest of 2022. Up first is a man who is very near and dear to both of our hearts. He's actually a part of the show now. We love him very, very much. It is Bruce Willis. Oh wait, it's Fart Simpson, and here he is from his first showing on it. He came on the show twice. He came on the Wailing episode and Resolution, but this clip is from our review of The Wailing. Your preferences and that kind of thing. What do you think?
You douche.
Yeah, no problem.
Important question. How many fart sounds do you have on the soundboard?
Oh, so these are my farts from the 90s. Yeah. So these are old historical farts. I used to carry around a cassette player and record my farts. Yeah, and I got them on deck. And this is me putting two farts that are in the key of F sharp on top of each other. So that's a fart chord, actually. I'm the first one to make a fart chord. Because these farts are analyzed. I analyze these in my software, and they actually have pitches. So this is in the key of E, and this is the key of D sharp. So I farted twice in F sharp, this one and this one. And then on top of each other, you make a chord. It's a fart chord. So yeah, I'll plug that. Up and coming, I'm going to make a VST synth for software. It's just my farts.
Fart chord.
This is getting ridiculous.
I know.
It's like you tapped into... Like, it's like
I knew that would be a good question to ask.
I got farts on deck.
You don't just have 2 farts on deck. You've got an arsenal.
Are those all your own?
An arsenal.
Yeah, those come out of my asshole for sure, man.
So hot.
No one
Can't fake
appreciated
that.
my pun.
I get it.
Say it again. I love puns. Repeat it.
Because you have an arsenal.
Oh, nice. Arse. Going a little British.
Going a little British. I had to get the arsenal in there. Okay. It speaks for itself, doesn't it? Okay, our second nominee for Best Guess of 2022 is our one and only Dustin Goebel from the Sadness episode. Let's hear that.
Yeah, what did you think of this movie, Dustin?
So I am a sucker for zombie movies. I went through this big stage when I was in college, so early 2000s, like
Same.
you were saying.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so Shaun of the Dead, 28 Days Later, The Crazies, all that shit came out, and I was just like, okay, I need to watch as much as I can.
Yeah.
Keep feeding me. Yeah. So this kind of brought me back to sort of that time, and I like how it was like The Crazies, but turned up to 11. So, man, I feel kind of fucked up now, but I'd give it a 9.
Of all the people who are fucked up, Dustin brings us some of the most tremendously fucked up movies ever. He was on our Possessor episode as well, and The Sadness was definitely high up there. Next on the list, we have Max Allen from The Mummy. Take it away, Max.
Muted you, Max. What do you have to say about The Mummy? Isn't it? And is this your first time watching it?
No, so I watched this movie for the first time when I was about 10 years old, and it terrified me. I was so scared. I was a baby when I was a kid. I was afraid of everything. I remember saying to myself, I'll never watch a scary movie, never, because they just scared me too much. And so, it was effective back then. This watch through was a little different for me. And I have a quick question about, I guess, the grading system here. So do you rate it based on how good of a movie it is or how good of a horror movie it is?
That some would say dumb question was brought to you by the man who you really owe this episode to.
Yeah.
So that was Max Allen. You should check him out. He's got a review podcast called Disc Review. It's over on YouTube. Check it out. Okay, our next nominee for Best Guest of 2022 is Brian from the Cabin Fever episode. He's from Horror Movie Club podcast.
What did you think about this movie, Brian?
I've got mixed feelings about it, and we reviewed it on our show, but it was 3 years ago, so it was interesting to watch again now, and I was honestly surprised that it had so many, corresponding elements to the pandemic. I kind of forgot. I mean, I know it's about an infectious disease, but some of the lines kind of hit home more than I was expecting. But I like it. I don't think it jumps out to me as something that is one of my favorite films. I think the biggest weakness is the characters. I'm not saying they're bad, but sometimes I get the feeling that Eli Roth doesn't really truly care that much about his characters. They're kind of just like a means to an end, or a vehicle to make the movie he wants to make. That being said, they weren't horrible characters. The acting was pretty good for the most part. And the gore and the scares was all really effective and creepy, and there's some definitely repulsive stuff in here. So I don't know. Do you guys ever give half? I can't remember.
A lot of questions about the scoring system. Everybody's curious. They all want to know for years and years. No, Brian, very one of the strongest analytical, minds in the movie review business right now. Our next nominee is a total sweetheart, Annie Hardy from the Dashcam review and from the Dashcam movie.
Charger. If you're downtown LA, you're more apt to see somebody jerking off directly in your face or whatever. But this was like a real isolated incident because there's no encampments around here or anything. We're just chilling. NoHo is slightly out of the way of the city. And so you get a sort of it's almost like going to Orange County, somewhere where it's just regular people, rural. But then you're like 5 minutes drive from the city, and the city is where things are gross and homeless. Not that there's anything wrong with these homeless people who are filling buckets with their own shit and waiting for the opportune moment to dump it on some poor civilian's head.
Hell yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, the unhoused. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't want to offend. My bad. My absolute bad.
You can have a home inside of a cardboard box leaned up against a dumpster. Like, you can make that a home.
Yeah.
But it's not a house.
No, it's not a house unless the people you really love are there with you.
How many have you ever gotten in a fender bender?
Yeah.
Or gotten pulled over because of it?
Never pulled over, touch wood, but...
Yeah. Have you ever gotten in a car accident? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh man, so good. And yet there's more. We have our next nominee is James Jude Courtney, none other than Michael Myers himself, for his role and in our review of Halloween Ends.
Has that helped you with portraying Michael Myers? Like, do you tap into that past research around paranoid schizophrenia?
Well, yeah, absolutely, and that I come by that naturally because I've already had that experience staying in a lockdown ward in a psychiatric prison. With the director, myself, we were there with a psychiatrist, and I had an orderly with me all the time. And these guys that I sat with and talked, I mean, they committed their crimes 20, 30 years ago, so they've been on meds, they've gotten past all the whatever it was that was controlling them. But I still remember those experiences like they were yesterday. And so they absolutely informed. I never thought about it though. This is not a left brain exercise for me. This is more of a spiritual experience. So once I drew that in and knew that I had it, I didn't think about it ever again. It's just, I breathe it in, I do it, I breathe it out. And nothing has changed from the beginning of 2018 to the very end of Halloween Ends. Nothing inside me changed.
Very cool. I was wondering, what is the now? I realize this is kind of a weird and dark question, but so if maybe you have a scene that you would prefer to mention. Thank you, James. And finally, we have our final nominee. Last but not least, Keith Harris. From the Scream 2022 episode. We're going to be talking to Keith after this, you and I. We're going to be calling him. So here is Keith Harris from our Scream 2022 review.
Yeah. Well, hey, Keith, I'm curious to know, what score would you give Scream? I think Bryce said 6. I'm going around to 7. What are you going with?
I would give it a 5 in that it wasn't terrible. It is the worst of the franchise, in my opinion, because I think every film after the first one got progressively worse. Like I said, each for different reasons, but I would classify it as painfully average. It doesn't do anything, like literally, no exaggeration, doesn't do anything at all that I wasn't expecting it to do, and occasionally that was for good. 9 times out of 10, it was for the worse. It left no impact on me whatsoever either way.
Keith always has that knife edge with words. He doesn't mince around, so we certainly appreciate him. So let's take a look at who the winner is. Get my envelope open. Oh my God, you don't say. It's Bryce. It's Annie Hardy.
I mean,
that was a tough category, let me tell you.
Tough category, but I'm not surprised. She worked hard for her performance in that review.
Have you ever been in a car accident? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking so cool. Okay. So there it is. That's our best guess from 2022.
All right. So moving on. we have the nominees for Most Sexual Moment from our episodes in 2022. Presenting will be me, Bryce Hanson. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Kinsey scale from the Firestarter 2022 episode.
I'm saying the bad guy kid, Pink.
Plemons? Jesse Plemons?
Jesse Plemons. Yeah, are you saying, like... are you saying,
I
like...
see no difference.
Okay, now you're just trying to be...
I don't know, I'm not into men, David, so...
Okay. All right, well, this is a good way to just... retard the conversation.
No, I mean, if Zac Efron came up to me and hit on me in a bar, I'd be like, oh, okay.
All right, we'll go to your place.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, if he asked nicely, I would suck his dick, okay?
Okay. As long as we are in agreement.
Yeah, I mean, we learned from, what's his name? I can't remember the sex psychologist guy. He's played by Liam Neeson in that movie.
Ed Asner?
Ah, fuck. Kinsey. We learned from Alfred Kinsey that everyone's a little gay.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's got a little... It's a spectrum,
I mean, to be honest, like, the more you're able to admit it, probably the less gay you are.
Right. The straightest guys act the most
Think about
homosexual.
Every pastor who's like, the gays are going to hell, and then as it turns out, they'll literally get done giving that speech, and they go into the back and they just take it in the ass. Like, literally.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm here just, straight as an arrow.
Right.
Because I acknowledge my gayness.
That should be the spectrum on the test of, like, it shouldn't be like how attracted you are to men. It should just give you a list of celebrities. Say, who would you let fuck you? It's like, goes from like Paul Giamatti to Zac Efron. And that it's like, oh yeah, you fall straight on the Adrian Brody point in the spectrum.
Yeah.
Next nominee is Should We Get Naked from the Cabin Fever episode. I feel like the subtext is that two of the guys are pretty sure that they're going to be fucking these girls for the next couple days, and they're like, yeah, I mean, infectious disease, and like, we just killed a guy. Maybe we should tell someone, but we're going to get our dick sucked like a minute ago, and we could just go back to that. So, like, yeah, I'm almost wondering if there's, like, it's weird. The character's motivation. Eli Roth, like, came back to the guys, like, all right, here's your motivation. You can go commit to, a felony and probably spend the rest of your life in jail. Or, hear me out, your character gets their dick sucked for another 2 days.
It's like, The weirdest part about this is it's strangely realistic. It's like, I remember being, 20 and being like, oh man, what I wouldn't do. Anything for sex, anything. I would die. And then, yeah, I mean, it's not that far removed from what happens in this movie where they're like, but sex though. And
what are we gonna do? Should we hide the body? Should we go get the police? Should we kiss? I don't know. What are we gonna do? Should we get naked? I mean,
yeah, we should get naked. And there's I noticed that this disease almost wants to cuddle, which makes it so much grosser. I think in my notes I wrote, the fuck disease wants you to cuddle. And
then we have zombie jacking from the Resolution episode.
Love that best friend helping another friend tale where they're stuck in a place together. The battery's it. It's two friends stuck in a car during a zombie apocalypse, and it kind of opens like that, where they're all in the car and they're getting swarmed by zombies, and it kind of opens. So, really funny shit. Like, no spoilers, but a funny moment where, like, the dude ends up leaving the car to go get some supplies, and the other guy's in there. A woman zombie walks up to the car, and her tits are pressing against the car window, so he just starts jerking off to a zombie. It's been like a year since they've seen a woman, so those little things I really think is funny, but they try to keep it very serious, like just zombie, best friend, low budget. I mean, $6,000. I don't know what the fuck you can do with $6,000, but they did it. So
you can do zombie.
Can I see one titty?
You can do zombie tit jacking, apparently.
And then we have Be Careful What You Wish For from Stranger by the Lake. To say that there is gay sex in this movie is an unsimulated gay sex. To say that there is gay sex in this movie is an understatement. It's basically softcore gay porn for a good 60% of the film.
True.
In past episodes, we have advocated for more full-frontal male nudity and more sex in films. Well, be careful what you wish for, because this is...
I'm sorry, finish your thought.
This might be... I wouldn't say too much, but like when you ask for it and you're just given it, it's like, oh, I feel kind of empty inside.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't what I wanted.
Yeah, the lack of it hitting was a weird... It was a weird emptiness. It was like, oh, there's a void in me. It can't be filled by this. I guess. Well, that's somehow it's informative about myself. I was like, wow, this is really, really fucking gay.
Right.
And I don't know, I looked down at little mister hanging out, and he was like, not doing it, nothing here, boss. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's an interesting thing to note about myself.
Right.
That I never knew before.
Nothing doing. Next up, we have Poison Tits from the Hostel episode. It's one of those things with horror movies, it's hard to appreciate the unique premises of like, well, wait a minute, this hasn't really been done before, of specifically focusing on just super hot women luring in men to be tortured like as a honeypot. Like the honeypot in horror is not... I can't think of a lot of examples of it, and this is pretty specific with the ideas that it uses. I don't feel has been done before.
It's interesting. It's interesting because it's exploitative in a subversive way. You know, it's like normally you show your tits and then you get killed.
Right.
You know, it's instead of you show your tits and then
you kill.
They kill you. You get killed because you saw the tits.
Right.
But at this point, we're just splitting hairs.
They're like poison tits.
I will say they were the nicest tits I've seen in any movie, including pornos. These young ladies are exceptionally good looking.
I mean, you'll be if your question is,
can I see one titty?
Yes. And then finally, I'm About to Come from The Sadness. Into a pole that has barbed wire wrapped around it?
Yeah, they have his whole body picked up, his legs spread eagle,
right,
and then they're slamming his genitals into a pole with barbed wire wrapped around it.
And then it turned out that it was a huge misunderstanding because they were just filming.
Yeah, because Jim came in and he was like, "Stop mutilating that man's genitals!" And the man was like,
and then they were like, "No, we're filming a Japanese game show."
And the dude was like, "I'm about to come. What are you doing?" The dude was literally like, "Hey, what the fuck? You messed up my... Now I got to start all over again. I got the vinegar strokes now." And that's where you kind of go, oh, gross, ew. A lot of parts of this movie where you go, oh, gross, ew.
And the award goes to...
A lot of good choices, man. I got to tell you. Those are very sexual moments. Yeah. A lot of exploring homosexuality.
A lot of... I mean, much like the Oscars...
Pretty gay.
A lot of weight goes to the gay, nominations. Kind of an upset. We've got Should We Get Naked from Cabin Fever is the winner.
Wow. Bravo. Should we? I don't know.
All right. Moving on. We're going to
our next...
go to the most problematic moment given out by David.
That's me. I am presenting this category. This is the most problematic moments of 2022 on Horror Movie Talk. These are the moments that'll potentially get you canceled, So without further ado, let's hop right into this. Our first nominee for the most problematic moment of 2022 is What a Dumb Bitch in the Mummy episode.
Part of it was like also a commentary on the sexism of the time period which it takes place, but also like, see, that's the fun part is like, it's the commentary of like sexism from, 70, 80 years ago or whatever it was at the time. But then to us as viewers, like we just look at how the woman characters are treated in the movie that are even supposed to be like empowered and intelligent. Right. And it's like, no, Rachel Weisz is still just basically treated like a hot piece of ass, in this movie. She's like, look how gorgeous she is. Oh, she's pretty smart too, but she's real pretty, right?
But clumsy though. What a dumb bitch. It's like, it's like, Jesus Christ, can you take it easy? Like it just feels so... Oh boy, that was problematic. So our next nominee for the most problematic moment is from the Drag Me to Hell episode titled Gypsies.
And this is a universal truth across the board. If you're intimately familiar with gypsies in your culture, you go, fuck the gypsies.
David, we got a lot of gypsy listeners that you're going to be alienating when you say
and
this.
I'm saying fuck them. I'm just... Look, they know who they are.
I did a little research because I was like, how... I got in a little hot water for previous, like, semi-racial statements.
Yeah. Maybe,
and so,
maybe that was good. Maybe that was a good thing.
Yeah, it was a good thing. It's a learning experience. So I was like, maybe I should do some due diligence on the gypsies. Sorry, the Romani people. And it's one of those things that's kind of telling, and it's like a wide swath of people. And
I'm sure bad culture.
I'm sure not all gypsies are bad.
No, the culture is bad.
But when you read the history, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like a nomadic culture. And, they basically got deported from every single Western country at some point. And, like, just specifically that group, they're like, not these people. We're not talking about just, like, there's tragic, they're wrapped up in the tragic Holocaust in Germany, too. But pretty much everyone was fed up with gypsies.
Well before that.
Oh,
yes.
And I also learned that the fact that they're called gypsies is that it was misunderstood. They were assumed that they're from Egypt.
Yeah, no, they're not. And
they're from kind of an Indo-Indian, Indo-European, Upper India place.
Listen, if you're intimately familiar with gypsy culture and would like to set us straight, you can call us. You can make. I don't care how you get a hold of us. Just call us at 682-253-4468 and let us know. Just share some stories. I would be so interested to hear these stories.
I assume we're going to get like plenty of voicemails of just elderly women that goes, "I curse you."
Oh my God.
I curse you.
Oh my God.
Lamia.
Oh no. I hope not.
Yeah.
I really hope that's...
You're calling it upon yourself. I'm trying to be respectful.
You're like a big dirty raccoon, David.
I'm sorry.
I mean, they were deported from every single country in Europe because everyone was racist.
Right. except that they're not a race, they're a culture.
Everyone was xenophobic.
David.
Well, my point is, call us at 682-253-4468. Let us know how you feel about gypsies and why we can all just feel okay about bagging on them.
Yeah, or the Roma people.
Or the Roma people.
I also learned that, like, there's no consistent, like, some of them will be offended by Roma, some of them
That's
will be
by
offended
design.
by gypsies.
Yeah, that's all by design.
I'll tell you what, though, this has no correlation with anything probably, but I'm sure a lot of, like, internationally, if you experience pickpockets, they're probably going to have a gypsy accent, you know.
Wow, I've never been so offended my whole life. Thanks.
Well, have you ever been pickpocketed?
No, actually, I had a few attempts.
Yeah.
When I first went to Las Vegas when I was
Las Vegas,
18, wow. And there'd just be a cutie walking by me, and then she would just viciously grope my ass, just like really grabbing into the meat, you know, with the tentacle. And I was like, "Ooh, I like that." Ooh, and then I realized what it was about. And I was, "Get off of me, gypsy!" And
get off of me, gypsy.
Problematic for sure. Our next nominee is from the Constantine Review, titled "Oops."
As a devout Catholic, Angela realizes that if her sister did actually commit suicide, she's damned herself to hell. Oops. Hang on.
Oopsie doopsie.
Ew.
Oopsie doopsie. Damn my eternal soul.
David, this is
shucks.
awkward.
Shucks.
We're loopy. Oh, man. Our next nominee is from the Get Out Review, titled "Don't Use the N-Word."
As a white viewer, you're like, we've moved beyond the times of guess who's coming to
Right,
dinner.
you want to pat yourself on the back a lot.
It's like, people are okay with it. But I'm sure black people are like, yeah, this is going to be awkward for them and for me.
And vice versa. It would be, I mean, if I were dating a black girl, for me it would be awkward to go to her family, I imagine, you know? It would be awkward for them. They'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Or maybe not. Maybe they're super cool. I don't know.
God damn, what are all these other spices that aren't salt and pepper?
Your food tastes good. What is this? Hey, is this poison? Why are you trying to poison me with taste?
Oh, why are you vibrant and full of life?
Okay.
Where my life is.
Get your... Let's just bring it down a notch, you know? It's all just that cool on this episode. Do you have that like thing in the back of your head being like, oh, we're talking about this could be dangerous?
Of course I do.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Live in the modern times.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is exactly, but you can easily do it.
Yeah. Well, there are wrong things to say.
Yeah. Rule number 1. On this episode, no use of the N-word. That would be the wrong thing to say in any situation. We haven't done it yet. Let's not start on this episode.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just keep it for the afterpod.
Whoa, hey, no, I don't want to do it over there either.
Yeah, I'd love for people to just think we're just like the most racist people off the air.
You would love that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
I know them. I think some people do. Like, I know who they are as people.
Oh, okay.
They're masking it. I mean, some of our reviews make it sound like that.
Oh, yeah. There's always people who want to read, like, nefarious intent into shit. And they're usually this... And as this movie states, they're usually the fucking racist ones. You believe others to be racist because you're super fucking racist.
Right.
Oh, man. Still true. Weirdly enough, it still holds true. And our final clip that I'm not a big fan of the title of this, and I was unaware of until this point, is from our Dog Soldiers review. And it's titled, David's a Little Racist. Speaking of Highlanders, one of the problems I had with this movie is I think I'm a little racist.
Oh?
All Scottish people look the same to me. I couldn't tell who. I could not tell one character from another. I was like, is that the same guy? And then they call him Sarge, and I'd be like, okay, so that's Sarge. And then they'd be like Ryan or Cooper, and I'd be like, they'd look the fucking exact same to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know who, how many people are in this building? Like, I was like, is there two? There could just be two.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I know I got to the end of the movie with Cooper, and I was like, who's the blonde guy?
I don't know, Bryce.
Like, I didn't notice until the end of the movie that Cooper was blonde. And I was like, oh, so that's the guy from the beginning, I guess.
I gotta say, anyway, let's see who the winner is for the most problematic moment of 2022. I'm opening the envelope. Wow, this is certainly a first. This is definitely the first time any fucking gypsy has ever won an award. It's the gypsies from the Drag Me to Hell episode. How about that? Bravo.
Okay. So, on to our next category, which I'll be presenting for the most psychologically revealing moment of 2022. And starting off, we'll go with Bryce's fear of electronics.
What is it about electronics that go off that's so creepy? You know what I mean? Like, the phone rings and it's like, oh, I'm in the house all alone and the phone's ringing. Oh no. And then the TV turns on and no one apparently has turned it on, right? But there's that, I mean, that's always been a thing, you know, in horror movies where it's like, oh man, who turned that TV on? And what is that, do you suppose? Is that just the fear of being alone and not really being alone?
Well, I think it's like people. I think it's the experience of electronics not working the way you want them to, ever.
That's the fear?
Yeah, it's just like, why isn't this doing the thing that it's supposed to do? Like, what's PC load letter, you know? Like,
what the fuck does that mean?
Like, you put on a VHS tape, and all of a sudden you see, like, you know, the tracking is off, and all the bars are off, and you're like, why... We live in a modern society. Why do I have to have any kind of interjection into it?
Are you
like,
serious? Is this your actual answer? Is this a troll answer? Is this the thing that scares you about a TV turning on when no one's at home? You're like, oh, it's not working the way it's supposed. I got to get that thing fixed.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, oh, you know, I hooked everything into my receiver, but I don't know where these cables go. It's like this mystery. You got to think about it. You got to think about it like an old person, you know, like like what horror movies, how they treat electronics in horror movies is what I assume is how old people just experience electronics. Period.
Oh no, it's happening and I can't stop it and I'm not in control.
I pushed a button and the picture's small. Bryce fixed it.
Bryce's, oh man, if this is your honest answer to that question, this is my fate. I'm so glad I asked this totally seemingly innocuous question. Like, the thing that Bryce fears about a TV turning on when he's at home alone is that his TV is on the fritz.
That's an amazing horror premise. Seriously, what a great idea.
I gotta spend $500 on this now. Bryce is,
well, yeah. There's that. Yes, that's part of it. I'm not saying I'm afraid of it. I'm not saying I'm.
If it were some ghoul come to kill him, he's like, "Oh, sweet release! Thank God the TV's okay."
Yeah, I mean, see, this is what is different being an adult and being like a homeowner. Because when I watch The Ring, the things I'm afraid of are not the things you're supposed to be afraid of. It's like
don't touch that nail, you'll get tetanus.
Like, oh no, the TV turned on. Like, it must be a paranormal entity. It's like, no, I'm thinking like, oh no, there's some kind of electronic problem. There's some kind of like power surge. This isn't good. So, like, I'm gonna have to replace that. And then like, there's like water coming out of the bathroom on the ground. You're like, oh no, water damage. Oh Jesus Christ. That's the most terrifying thing to me. I'm like, those hardwood floors.
It's so fucking weird, dude.
I'm gonna have to sand those down. I'm gonna have to reseal them. I'm gonna have to like check out what you see water on the ground, and all I see is thousands of dollars of repair. I don't think like, oh no, there's a creepy naked woman in my tub right now.
Next up, we have Bryce's brain is too strong from the Smile episode.
And you in that said, that's not really something I'm scared of. I don't, so I kind of assumed that this kind of thing worked on me better than it did you. But now I'm hearing you. What is it about this movie that how it portrays that hits, whereas they look like people? How do those two contrast for you?
I mean, I like both of them. I think they're both like really good at portraying mental illness and like psychotic breaks. But I think I both appreciated them from like an intellectual point of view, or just like as an outside observer. I don't ever like put it as like, this is a fear of mine, or like this is something that I feel would happen to me, just because I don't know. Maybe it's an ego thing. I'm like, my brain is too strong my brain is too strong for that. Strong brain.
This is for dopey dum-dums. I can't. Right. I'm not a dum-dum.
Well, after trying mushrooms, like, my brain is too strong for mushrooms. Didn't do shit. So.
That's right. Yeah, Bryce recently tried more mushrooms than anybody should really ever try, and it doesn't quite really touch him so much. So there's something going on with his Viking blood that's not allowing him. You're all dum-dums compared to Bryce, is what we're trying to say.
This is really gonna help me after being called out for being pretentious in Terrifier 2 review. Okay, and then next we have David Hates Horses from our Nope episode. This is right here. And you're going to know, don't stand behind a horse.
Don't. There were so many, like horses are one of the scariest things to me. It's not like when I walk up to a horse, I'm like, but I have, what it is I have total respect for the amount of insane power and chaos that a horse can produce, because I've seen it firsthand a lot. My mom was a horse person, growing up, like as a kid, she had a horse and yada, yada. So she wanted me to be a horse person too. So when I was like 5, I got horse riding lessons, and there's this fucking perfect, this is a whole fucking story we can go into on the afterpod.
I can't wait.
I rode a horse that got struck by lightning 2 days prior at 5 years old. And the thing fucking went into a frenzy because of a hose. And I'm just little tiny David just on the back of this thing that's flying around. And I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And then, It's a lot. Like, horses are powerful in every way.
This was one of those things that came as a shock to me, and I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast, but we were talking on the phone once, and I can't remember the circumstance, but you revealed your intense fear of horses, of like this latent fear of like,
I don't like anything about them.
A horse can fuck you right up. Like, it is danger.
Yeah, they
personified.
You could be around a horse and then just be dead.
Man, I can't. I wish I could remember the circumstances of the talk. Maybe we were talking about horse girls or something. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yes, vaguely, but I don't remember what it was. I mean, dude,
I was so amused by it because it's as. For me, I imagine this is what it feels like for you when I talk about sinkholes. You're like, what?
Yeah,
that's not even a thing.
Yeah, kind of. It's a very specific fear, but
Right.
I mean, for me, it's. I don't know. Like, I don't like anything about them either. Like, their teeth are terrifying. They have people teeth. They have a big head full of people teeth, and they use them a lot, like to bite things. Like, ugh, I don't like that. They could just bite your finger off, no problem. But those back legs. If you walk behind a horse wrong, your life could just be done.
Right.
Because all it takes is a half inch of that hoof to clip you in the head, and you're dead.
Right.
You're just fucking totally dead.
Yeah.
So,
tell me about their eyes.
Oh, they got them dark eyes. Those
black eyes.
Doll's eyes.
Lifeless eyes, like doll's eyes.
Something. I think it's the danger. That's what attracts girls to them. They're like, this can kill me.
Oh, that's what it was. We were talking about why girls are attracted to horses, and you talked, and like there was any number of things that I could have gone, but I could not have predicted yours was the danger.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what? What? Like, oh yeah, it's a dangerous animal. Like, that's not.
That's the only
where
reason
I would have gone at all.
It's why women like men. Is there any other reason to like men? It's like, no, this thing can protect me because it's big and strong and unwieldy and can protect me from other big, strong, unwieldy things.
Right. I would go just giant muscle mass and then just horsecock.
Oh,
that's where I would go.
Wow.
And next nominee, we have The Real Bryce from our Bone Tomahawk episode. Well, David, if you know me at all, like, I am the ultimate devil's advocate.
If anybody on this planet can say that they know you, I feel like it's me. But you're blowing all of my perceptions of you out of the water on this episode. I'm so used to sitting across from you in basically just underpants, that this what you have going on right now is blowing my mind. This is so, I mean, if this is what going remote means for Horror Movie Talk, bring it on. I am so amazed by the way you are right now. This is so great. And by the way, everybody listening, hey, we're on YouTube right now. If you're listening to our RSS feed, great, keep listening. But do know that if you head over to our YouTube channel, which you can find a link to at our website, horrormovietalk.com, you can watch our faces on video. And we had such a fucking amazing response to last week's, or to The Ring, which was probably a couple weeks ago by now. That, oh man, you should check it out because people seem to really enjoy this video. So yeah,
it's going to open up a lot in terms of creativity, because like being able to do stuff visually it's a big deal. So if you think we're funny with audio, like, we will be just as lazy with our jokes visually, but there will be jokes. So
yeah. Well, and not jokes. You just get to know us as people, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
It's a good way to kind of get to know us and our idiosyncrasies and like.
And finally, you can see the real me. So that's just.
Is that a little gun? Is that a little gun?
Oh, this thing? This thing? I always carry this with me.
Is that your 6-shooter?
Uh-huh. And then we have Take It Back from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 episode. Yeah, Alice Krieg.
From Nexus or whatever it is?
From First Contact. And
all the others.
All the other
So
stuff.
the show and... Well, she was the witch from Gretel and Hansel.
Oh, yeah.
Borg Queen. Dang. First Contact. Let's see here. You guys, you'll have to forgive us. We're
looking at IMDb.
We're kind of Star Trek fans, so it's a little bit of a thing.
I mean, David's more of a fan than I am.
Come on.
He likes Deep Space
You've seen all the movies.
Yeah. What
Deep Space Nine is great.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a nerd would say.
You don't... Well, you wouldn't know because you haven't even given it a shot.
I did give it a shot.
Oh, yeah?
I watched, like, the first episode, and I was like, wow, this is shit.
Oh, yeah. I can judge... let me see here. 7 times 26. However... I can judge 200 episodes of a show based on literally the first episode.
Oh, that's how good I am.
You're so stupid. No, that's how bad you are. I'm so upset. I'm not doing the rest of this... You take it back. I'm not doing the rest of this review unless you take that back. It's so absurd. Take it back.
Captain Sisko.
Take it back. He's Commander Sisko.
Commander Sisko.
So stupid.
He wrote the thong song, right?
Your mom wrote the thong song. Because she wears one all the time. Ask me how I know. So the old lady who ran the orphanage, got him. I don't know. I'm going to turn to Leatherface. I've never been this worked up on a show. Ugh. Okay. I gotta say, Bryce, can you fuck off? Honestly, I'm angry right now about it a little bit. And by the way, Deep Space Nine is a masterpiece, and Voyager is pretty good too. Like, they're all good in their own right. I don't know about Enterprise. We're moving on to Enterprise next.
That's the psychologically revealing part, is that we revealed that David is a huge fucking nerd.
Take it back.
Deep Space Nine.
Take it back.
Next up is Listening Like God from the Possession of Hannah Grace episode.
Look, we're approached 50 times a week, and it's not like I don't love it when you reach out to us.
Right.
All of you. But
and it all, like,
everyone's like, you know what you gotta do? You gotta review Cabin in the Woods. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, thanks. But if we took everybody's
in the Return of Superman, when Superman is like flying above the earth and he's just like listening like God to all the whispers that are happening. That's what it's like hearing movie requests for us. It's like, you should do the Thing remake. The Exorcism 3.
This is the moment where Bryce compares himself to Superman.
And then you're lying like on your back in the cross position like the Messiah. And then you hear the one where it's like, it's a lady screaming, her purse is getting taken, and that's the person that you help.
Right.
You fly down and you save the lady whose purse was being stolen. And that's what it's like for us for taking requests. It's like we get so many requests, and we can only cover 52 movies a year.
That's all we got time for.
And there's probably like 20 new releases every year. Okay, and last nominee is... I can talk about TikTok from our Orphan First Kill episode.
The MILFs that I'm friends with that are single, they tell me the stories of how they find these little young twinks at the bars. So listen, that as a 42-year-old woman wanting to fuck a 19-year-old little hairless guy, I don't know, man.
Deformed freak.
I mean, it's the same. It's the exact same impulse as some, 45-year-old dude hitting on some, 20-year-old girl in the bar. Yeah, it's the same thing. Which, I mean, is it great? I don't know. I mean, we're not supposed to judge, so I just can't judge. I just whatever. It's just pedos are bad.
I mean, I have to gauge my reaction now. I have to gauge my reaction now off of my wife of like, oh, that 40-year-old's dating this 25-year-old. How disgusting is that? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
I'm like, but also, I get it. I still get it.
Who the fuck? I mean, listen, when was the last time you conversated with a 20-year-old? With me teaching, I have to fucking interact with them. There is nothing being in my 40s that I have in common with a fucking 20-year-old. That's all. So when I hear these old dudes banging young chicks, I'm like, what the fuck? Are they talking about TikTok?
I can talk about TikTok.
Just throw that puss on my face and we'll talk about TikTok. Holy shit.
All right. I feel like I'm digging my own grave right now. Just to be clear, I do not like little children. I just want to make sure that it's well established that I do not like anyone younger than 18.
Hell yeah.
Or anyone younger than 30 for that matter, because that's
right
where it ends being appropriate.
I can talk about TikTok.
All right. The award for most psychologically revealing moment is David Hates Horses from the Nope episode.
Look, here's the thing about horses. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there applause?
They're supposed to be.
Well,
Riverside is delayed.
There you go. Look, the thing about horses is they're huge, they're powerful, and they're unwieldy. All right, I'm not wrong. You're just not afraid of the right things. Is all. All right. Prioritize your shit. If you're in a field with a horse, you're seconds away from death.
Okay, so before we move into the talking about horror movies section of Horror Movie Talk, I just want to take a moment and appreciate our patrons. Go to patreon.com/horrormovietalk to join them and get access to exclusive Patreon content, including our afterpods. I'm sure we'll be talking about these moments in our afterpod a little more in depth, as well as diving into David's fear of horses. As well as patron exclusive episodes at certain tiers and more. Just go check it out. If you want to buy a logo tee like this one, you can go to our shop at horrormovietalk.com/shop. We want to give a thanks, as always, to those that support our show, especially Dustin Goebel, who's the resident artist for Horror Movie Talk. He's on Instagram at dgoebel00. That's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram, and he takes commissions, and send him a commission and make your artistic dreams come true. Again, thank you so much to Max Allen for helping out with the production of the episode today. He also does the outro music for Horror Movie Talk. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, it'll be pretty interesting, especially with this episode. If we missed any clips, missed any notable moments, give us a call at 682-253-4468 and let us know. If you give us a time code, maybe we'll even play it on the episode where we answer voicemails. We want to hear your opinion on worst film, best films we reviewed last year. And so let's head into that right now. Let's talk about, I guess we're giving out awards still. The next category, Riverside, you blow goats.
Whoa.
All right. How about this? How about... So the next category will be presented by David. The worst... What is it? Worst movie we watched this year. David, take it away.
Okay, so this category does not necessarily... This is of the movies that we reviewed in 2022, which was the worst movie. So it's not necessarily new reviews, as you will obviously, or new releases, as you will obviously see. Okay, so the first contestant, or the first nominee, there's a fly buzzing around my face, as normal, because it smells like shit. My face smells like shit. First nominee for the worst horror movie that we watched this year is Puppet Master from 1978. That's not right at all. It's from 1988. Boy, what a stinker. That is a Blue Moon production, and Full Moon production. And boy, whoo, stinky. We also, the second nominee goes to 13 Ghosts, a beloved old flick from, I think, Dark Castle. Very, very bad. Not remembered for the things that it actually does, which it seems like everybody remembers 13 Ghosts for all the amazing backstories of all these super unique and interesting ghosts, which only happened in the DVD for 13 Ghosts. It didn't happen in the theatrical release of the movie. Our third nominee is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Not a strong movie, lots of nostalgia. Look, we all love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and particularly the show. But this movie has Paul Rubin in it, and as you all know, he jacked off in a movie theater and will never be allowed back in Hollywood. So the Academy hates this movie. He's brought shame upon us all of us fucking huge perverts, and now he must pay the ultimate price for all of our sins. The fourth nominee for the worst movie we watched this year goes to Halloween Ends, the final installment in the Halloween 2018 run of Halloween movies. This was the worst trade deal we've ever made. It was very bad. We gave Michael Myers, and all we got back was just a heaping pile of stinky shit. Our fifth nominee is Studio 666. This is a little ditty that started off so strong with the Foo Fighters and ended up so weak with the Foo Fighters. And our final nominee for worst movie that we watched this year was Orphan First Kill, which I can't even remember anything about this movie other than it was an old lady playing a young girl, and they made her look small. The end. Let's see who wins this. Big upset to no one at all. The worst movie we watched this year, or in 2022, was definitely Halloween Ends. It was horrible. Horrible.
Wow. Even worse than Puppet Master.
It was so bad.
I mean, I gotta say, I don't agree with the Academy on this one. Like, Puppet Master definitely seems like it deserved the worst movie that we watched this year.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Halloween as a franchise is not strong. And I think that's what the Academy's trying to say here, is that it's really a slight against Halloween and Michael Myers. But not, you don't agree? I don't agree either. I think this is an upset.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was worst movie we watched last year. Next category is the best movie we watched this year. Okay, so we got a good lineup. Here are the nominees for best movie we watched in 2022. We have Silence of the Lambs, Paranormal Activity, The Fly from 1986, Barbarian, newcomer from the year, Carrie from 1976, Dawn of the Dead from 2004, is how I'm choosing to say it now, Get Out, Hatching, or Pahanhautoja.
Very good.
Sure. Prey, or The Menu. So a lot of, pretty strong year for new horror movies. We're going to move on to the best and worst new horror movies of the year, but contenders with Silence of the Lambs and Paranormal Activity. It's pretty intense. So let me open up.
What do you have? What's it say?
And best movie that we watched in 2022 is Paranormal Activity.
Oh, dang! The Academy is on fire tonight. I think that's a pretty contentious pick.
Really?
I mean, I don't know, man. You got The Fly, you got Silence of the Lambs up there, you have Barbarian, Carrie.
It's true, but Paranormal Activity,
Yeah, it's strong. It is a strong pick. I mean,
when it comes to the Academy of Horror Movie Talk, again, you can get the award by pandering to their tastes. And tastes of Horror Movie Talk generally kind of skew towards family-based found footage movies.
And ghosts really help.
And ghosts. They're kind of suckers for it.
Yeah.
All right. Next category.
Yeah, I think we're into the worst new movies of 2022 category. So, of the new movies that were released in 2022, this is the actual worst one. Okay, so the contenders are Halloween Ends. You got Studio 666, the Foo Fighters movie. You have Orphan First Kill. You have Terrifier 2. That's a contentious pick. You have Scream 2022. You have Firestarter, which is another remake, 2022. And Crimes of the Future. I think, boy, man, I don't know. I don't know who I would necessarily choose, but we're going to have to see who the Academy chooses right now. Who do they choose, Bryce? Let's see. Bryce, it's Halloween Ends again.
Wow. Wow.
Can we get a clap track or the audience?
You're a clap track.
Oh, okay. Who thought Halloween Ends would go home with 2 awards tonight?
Right.
Who thought that? Not me. But they did. They pulled it off.
Okay, next. So our final category of the night.
I'm so excited, Bryce. This is the big one.
Is the best... Can't tell where that was playing. The best new movie of 2022. Lots of good movies came out. Not all of them have been mentioned so far, but several have. We've got X. We've got Nope from Jordan Peele. We have Hatching again. Was it Finnish? The Finnish kind of childhood trauma metaphor movie. We have Prey, which is kind of a soft reboot of the Predator franchise. The Menu, starring Ray Fiennes. Is that right?
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah. And Barbarian.
Big one.
So, lot of good contenders. Thinking about it, It's a really good year for horror movies in 2022.
It was the best in memory for me. I had such a fabulous time in 2022 with all the new releases. It was great.
So, the winner of the Best New Movie of 2022 is Barbarian.
Oh, man. I don't know. Is that, I feel like, oh man, is that, do you agree with the Academy on that one?
I agree with the Academy on that one. The only thing surprising is that movie was so popular that it seems like a no-brainer, and sometimes the Academy goes against type. Who do you think deserved it?
Yeah, I think for my money, if you were to ask me personally, I would go with Hatching. That movie was so on the nose and hit me in such a personal way. It just edges out Barbarian, but Barbarian was very, very strong. Generally speaking, probably the strongest contender on that list.
Nice.
I'm kind of tired. Are you kind of tired?
That, ladies and gentlemen, does it?
What?
Yeah, it does. And that concludes the formal portion of our second annual Talkies. And now, in the after party, we'll just talk about some of the scores. Like, we looked at the scores. David, if you want to scroll down to what score would you change, there's a link to like the spreadsheet.
Oh, got it.
So we want to go over like kind of the stats for 2022. First going over the perfect 10s, the movies that we gave a perfect 10 to the lowest scored movies, the biggest discrepancies in scores as well. So the ones that we disagreed most on. Starting out with the perfect 10s, and we can kind of, in answer to your question, yes, I am tired. But this is the portion where we can actually have more of a free form talk about it. Perfect 10s on the list, already mentioned The Silence of the Lambs, Paranormal Activity, The Fly, Barbarian, and Carrie all got perfect 10s from both of us.
Wow, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
We reserve it, for, it's so good it transcends genre boundaries.
Well, and it's when both of us meet that 10 criteria at the same time. There's been plenty of movies that I've given a 10 that you haven't, and some that vice versa.
Yeah.
I think of those, which is your favorite of those 5 perfect 10s?
I mean, I always love Silence of the Lambs. Like, it's kind of, one of those perfect movies that if it's on TV, like, you can't not watch it. Paranormal Activity, like, I love. I think it's, one of the best horror movies of all time. That, if you want to represent horror movies, like, that's probably the best one to do it. But it's more of like, you have to be the right kind of person, and you got to be in the right situation and sit down and watch the whole thing. It's not something you can come in halfway into and appreciate.
Oh man, I totally disagree. I think of this list, I mean, they're 5 fucking perfect movies, and I love them all. But the thing that sets Paranormal Activity apart from these 5 to me is it works on me every time. That is to say, it takes me out of my house and puts me into a dangerous place that is scary. And The Fly doesn't do that. Silence of the Lambs doesn't do that. Barbarian and Carrie don't do that. The Paranormal Activity just takes me and puts me in a scary spot, and that's what I want for my horror movies. So I think of the perfect 10s, that's the high water mark for me.
Yeah. Just looking at the stats, David, in 2022, you scored 9 movies, a perfect 10. And I scored, 11 movies, a perfect 10.
Damn, Bryce, look at you coming out over here with all like...
So you're You have the more discriminating taste in 2022.
Well, you'd have to. I think to do that, you'd have to take an average of all of our scores and then see what the average of that is. Right.
The average of all the scores? Well, I can do that right now.
You can take an average of every score from David, and then
so,
find out how high, like what that number is, and then take an
Right.
average of your scores.
Yeah.
And find out what
So,
that average is.
Your average score for all the movies reviewed in 2022 was 7.29. 7.29, and then mine was
that's high.
7.09. So yours was
yeah,
slightly
statistically, I'm a little higher. Yeah,
Right.
That makes
But
sense,
close.
but not
I mean,
much higher.
Yeah, in general, we like the movies.
Yeah.
In general, we tend to like horror movies.
Well, the real
What a shocker.
the real way to say that is, in general, we watch the things we like to watch. That's the actual data. Is we don't watch things we hate.
Oh man, you know what would be a good stat is totaling up all the pretentious or all the patron voted movies and see what our scores would be on that.
Yeah,
I didn't do that. I didn't mark those.
It'd get ugly in 2023 already. Ugly. They're punishing us this year.
What have they done so far?
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh,
What was the other one? God, give us some fucking real shitters.
That one was good, wasn't it?
I don't know
what it is now. Okay, moving on. I'll just take the rest of the stuff just to lead it. So lowest scored movies. We have Halloween Ends. So this is the average score between both of us. Halloween Ends was 3.5. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was 3.5 between both of us, but not as low as 13 Ghosts, which got 2.5, and Puppet Master got 2.
I mean, some things are just expected, you know? And you hear Puppet Master and you go, well, that's going to be garbage. That's going to be actual garbage. So it's not surprising, you know?
Right.
Halloween
I mean,
Ends.
I'm a little surprised that it wasn't a 1. That was a pretty terrible movie.
That was very
I think
bad.
the only redeeming grace was the little puppets.
Right.
Which you would assume would be
First
the
and
majority
foremost.
of the movie.
6 minutes or so.
No.
Lady Leech.
Yeah, 13 Ghosts was the kind of the second on the lowest. And
13 Ghosts is one of these movies that I just get triggered just hearing the name. I'm just like, fucking, ugh. You know, like, I don't even want to talk about it with you right now. Like, I can talk about Puppet Master and not be, like, too upset, but, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, the biggest discrepancies in scores was The Babadook, which you gave a 3 and I gave a perfect 10.
Yeah.
That's always been a contention. That's been a known disagreement in the world of horror movie talk.
That's the biggest. That's the biggest discrepancy. The biggest.
That is the biggest discrepancy.
7 points.
And then the next biggest is Crimes of the Future, which we flip-flopped. You gave it a score of a 9, and I gave it a score of 4.
Yeah, another one of these movies that really accomplished its goal with me. You know, while I was watching it, I was upset. I didn't like it. It did the very David Lynch thing of, you know, this is a David Lynch movie with Viggo Mortensen, like coming back to his casting from Eastern Promises, which I really like Viggo. And then, boy, man, uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. So I liked it a lot. And you did not.
Yeah, I kind of hated it. Like, I was not, I don't know. It's just kind of the movie that I'm bothered by. Yeah, this is just a difference between the both of us, because you really like the movies where it's open to interpretation and you have to fill in everything. And I hate that. I hate it if it's not clear on, like, the table stakes of a story, which is like, what's the point? What are we trying to say here? What are these characters doing? And that just was hard to parse out in Crimes of the Future for me. Then the next two, we're both 4 points away. Again, flip-flopped. So Smile, you gave it a 6, and I gave it a 10.
Yeah, didn't hit right. It did not hit me right. Thinking back on it, didn't hit me. I still am not a fan of just the vibe of it just felt like it was kind of weak acting.
Yeah, I mean, I think most viewers is probably in agreement more with you than me, but I don't know.
I don't know. I think it got talked about a lot because a lot of people liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I thought it was great. I thought the acting was great in it. Really unhinged performance by the main actress, just showing kind of a mental breakdown. I thought it was really good. And then flippity floppity again. The Mummy, you give a perfect 10 and I gave a 6.
Yeah, well, look, I'll admit that's a nostalgia 10. You know, that's 80% of that is nostalgia 10. I unapologetically love Brendan Fraser in an unironic way. This movie is just like, it's like high school zooming right back into my face. You know, it's just so great for me. I really like it a lot. By the way, did you see The Whale?
Not yet.
Crushing.
Did you? Where did you see it?
At the theater here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I really want to see it. Don't particularly want to see it in a theater, but
oh man, yeah, I was fucking bawling. I was bawling.
Well, it's also a different experience being the 600-pound man in the theater watching The Whale.
Oh yeah,
I don't want the people to just look over and be like, "Oh."
Oh.
In terms of discrepancies, though, like just looking at the average difference between our scores, even with the outliers, it's only a difference of 1.41.
Yeah, we like to. I mean, look, it's easy to focus on the differences, you know, because that's what sets you apart, you know. But really, when it comes down to it, this works because we have you know, these podcasts where it's like it's the horror. You know, we got two people we got a person who likes horror movies and a person who hates. That means one person has to be miserable all the time. That would just be fucking horrible. I wouldn't do it. You know, I just wouldn't be there for it. I mean, unless I was the one that liked it.
Yeah. So more boring stats with the discrepancies. So there were 6 movies that were 3 points apart. There were 8 movies that we were 2 points apart. There were 18 movies where we're just 1 point apart. And then 15 movies where we were in complete agreement.
Dang.
So we were in complete agreement about Puppet Master, Studio 66, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 22, Constantine, we both gave a 7, Hellraiser, both gave a 7, Critters,
Hellraiser 2022, by the way.
Hellraiser 2022, The Wailing, Men, X, Nope, and all the perfect 10s as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's so strange. Our biggest episode in terms of listenership and downloads, I mean, this isn't necessarily clad in gold or anything like that. I haven't done the research or anything like that, but throughout the year, the most notable one in terms of downloads has been Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. Pretty impressive amount of people were interested in our take on that one for some reason or another. Might have been a bigger one, but that is definitely one of the biggest.
I can bring up the.
It also helps that it has been out longer than any of the others by 8 or 9 months. I think that came out in February or March, but currently I think it's one of our biggest episodes, maybe ever.
Yeah, let me. While I look this up, why don't you check out that list? Do you have that spreadsheet up?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you check out that list and tell me, are there any scores that you would change in there? Is there anything that seems too high, too low?
Right. So I was thinking about that. I think, look, y'all are gonna hate me probably, or maybe not. There's not a lot of, I don't think a lot of people have a real strong feeling about this movie, but I upon watching Dog Soldiers, I felt compelled to give it a 4. A 4 out of 10 for Dog Soldiers. It's not a 4 out of 10. It's like a 2 or a 3 for me.
Really?
Yeah, I'd really it's such a sit there and look at my phone sort of movie for me. I was bad. I did not like it. So I would probably change Dog Soldiers. And then, if I'm really being honest, probably Hatchet, 2006 as well. I gave it a 4. Also, I'd probably bump that down a point or 2.
Yeah. Mine, let's see.
And it's okay to change your scores, in my opinion. I mean,
a lot of the scores is really like, what's our viewing experience when we watched it?
Yeah.
And
then you got to look back on it and go, would I watch that again? And if no, maybe bump it down a few points, because you're a new person today. You're not the same guy you were yesterday,
Right.
Or gal.
I think I'd probably keep most of my perfect 10s. I don't think there's anything in there that I well, no, you know what? I think Prey was probably a little generous too. Upon thinking about it, I don't know, feels like it's a little more forgettable than a 10. I'd probably bump it down to an 8 or 9.
Yeah, Prey really falls into this action movie category that's, just a fucking absolute blast to watch, but then you just kind of go, whoop,
Right.
It's out of mind. All those tricks are done now, and you don't have to ever watch it again,
Right. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 22, we both agreed on it, but was that really that good? We both gave it 7s.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people really disliked this one. I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty fun, and I don't know. Well, I don't know who's the person who's looking for a perfect 10 out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
Right.
I don't know who that is.
Right.
I don't know.
What did you expect? Let me see. In the low scores that I have, what do I got? No, I think I agree with most of the low scores. I could probably take off a couple points for some of these low scores. One, like Studio 666.
Ugh. Yeah, I'd bump that
4.
down.
We both agreed on a 4. Like, that's really probably a 2 or 3, to be honest.
Yeah.
There are enjoyable moments in it, but it's not. I don't remember it being particularly fun to like make fun of or anything. Yeah, it was okay. I think I agree with most of this. So looking at our stats on downloads, the biggest
No numbers.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 22 was beat out by X. X got more. X gonna give it to you. And the biggest one that I can see right now is Nope.
Oh, wow.
Several hundred more than both X and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Barbarian was just underneath that. One of our voicemail episodes was... Oh, never mind. Sorry. My eyes. Yeah. Hellraiser got a ton too. Halloween Ends. A lot of the new releases got
well, but then also you have to, and this is why I said, like, a lot of these you have to include the YouTube plays as well, and so I kind of go, because I know TCM was big on YouTube. YouTube numbers are much different than podcast numbers, by the way. So
yeah,
it's
but
not
also
indicative of how big your podcast is to look at your YouTube channel.
No, and also like it's so much more random too. Like if you get featured in a hold on.
Oh.
Oh, it doesn't show them. It doesn't show the stats on here.
Hey, by the way, last week our top 5 80s horror movies turned out to be a big crowd pleaser. Everybody was real excited. I'm so glad that people enjoyed that. Thanks for listening to that, you guys.
Yeah. I think I can sort by most popular. Oh, popular. Here we go. So popular, a lot from several years ago. Actually, one of our most popular movies on YouTube was The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
That one had my cousin Becca on it. Yeah, and
was that 2022?
No, that was the previous year, 21.
It says a year ago, but
actually, I mean, the movie came out in 2019, but we reviewed it in 2020, and then we reviewed the following year of its release.
Trying to find. Yeah, Halloween Ends got a lot. Bone Tomahawk actually got more than Halloween Ends on YouTube.
Nice.
Smile got more. This is all just riveting stuff.
Yeah, I'd say I'm interested to move. I'm interested to move on to the Afterpod. I got some. I'm interested to hear how it was putting this whole thing together.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for coming to this year's. Oh wait. This just in.
Oh.
We have one more award to give out. And that award is for Best Co-Host.
Oh, that's a category? Oh, is this the final category?
Yeah, this is the final category. I misspoke. Best Co-Host nominees are David Day or Bryce Hanson.
I'm so honored. I can't believe the Academy is including both you and me in this.
I know. Like it's always a contentious race between you and me. I think we've won at equal amounts in the past years.
Okay.
This year goes to that can't be right. David Day.
No. Oh my God. This is the nicest thing anybody's ever done for me. Thank you. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank God, and thank you. Oh, I'm being told to wrap it up. I want to thank God. I want to thank Bryce. I want to thank all the viewers and listeners. Anybody who subscribed to our YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, my kids, Charlotte and Emma, my wife, Carrie Thompson. Bye-bye.
That's the Horror Movie Talk Year in Review for 2022. The Talkies, the second annual Talkies. Thank you so much. I mean, honestly, number one, he's definitely a co-producer on this episode, is Max Allen. He listened to all of our episodes in 2022 to pull notable moments and list out time codes for us.
Check out his podcast, Disc Review. It's on YouTube, where he reviews new music albums. So check him out.
Also, thank you so much to our team, that contributes to Horror Movie Talk. Fart Simpson, who's editing this episode and all of our video episodes. Couldn't do it without him. I mean, definitely. Like, could we do it without Fart Simpson? Could we do video without Fart Simpson? How was your experience for editing a couple clips for this episode?
No, the man is a brilliant genius, and we couldn't do it without him.
He's a stable genius in our stable.
Yeah. Also, thank you to Mark Bento, Ruby. Boy, am I forgetting anybody? Dustin? Dustin? Oh, Dustin, of course. Well, I mean, we include Dustin thanks in every episode.
Check out his cover art for the top 5 80s horror movies. I mean, I crushed it. I want to get a poster of it.
I was like, I swapped our Patreon cover to that. I was like, this is fucking so cool. Like, we can have this for a couple weeks.
Speaking of which, thanks to our patrons, everyone that joins us on patreon.com. We're going to be going over and doing our after pod, and you can listen to us there. But really, honestly, like all the people that we just mentioned, well, most of them, like we were able to, toss them some ducats to help horror movie talk be better, and we couldn't appreciate them more, and we couldn't appreciate our patrons more, so thank you. If you're a fan of horror movie talk and you don't want to give us money, at least share it with a friend. Go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. 5-star review really helps out more than you realize. Go to our website, horrormovietalk.com. Then you'll find all links to our previous episodes and other ways that you can support the show. We will see you next time. If you want to give us a call, share your thoughts on the second annual Talkies, or give your opinions, call 682-253-4468. And with that, we out, biatch.
Biatch. What a great year.
What a great year.